Are you looking for a video that's going to show you how to make commas in Dofus Touch? Well, you clicked on the right one because I'm going to show you guys two different methods that have helped me. Let's get right into it. Now, for the sake of time, I didn't want to make a 40 to 50 minute long video going over every single way for you to make commas in this game because there's so many different ways. I just broke it down to two simple methods for you guys to kind of wrap your heads around. Now, if there's some veteran players in chat, if there's some veteran players that would like to share some of their ways for them to make commas, you can in the comments. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing that because it's your niche and it's your way, I totally understand. All right, the first method we're going to talk about is going to be leaning into your profession. So what does this mean? It means you want to be crafting keys if you're a handyman. You want to be creating potions if you're an alchemist. You want to be making bread if you're a baker, etc., etc. Okay. Now, a couple of pros and cons to this method. One of the pros is that it's free. Well, mostly free. It's going to be low cost. The second pro to this is that it's going to increase your profession experience as well. Okay, so not only going to be able to make commas using this method, but you're also going to help increase your profession experience at the same time, which is going to allow you to craft better items so that you can sell it for more money on the market. Okay, so it's kind of a win-win in this situation. But a couple of the cons for this is that it's time consuming and you're going to be trading most of your time for commas/experience. All right. The second method is buying and flipping. So what does this mean? It means you're buying resources at a low price. You're going to be crafting the gear, and then you're going to be selling for a profit. All right. So one of my good buddies, Risen, he made a video in regards to this. He has a commas making guide as well. I'm going to post that in the description below. I think it's a great video. You guys should go and check it out. Basically, he's talking about Robert Kiyosaki and the quadrant there. So really, you want to be an investor in this game, in my opinion. But there's different ways. Everyone has their own ways of making commas. Some people have more time than they do money, and some people have more money than they do time. So it just really depends on what your situation is. A couple of the pros for this method here is that it's more profitable. Okay, it's less time consuming, and it allows you to have some leverage over the market. Couple of the cons for this is that you're going to spend commas to make commas, right? So you got to have some type of bankroll, some type of budget for this type of method. And another con to this is that not all investments will profit. Okay, so sometimes you're going to invest into some things, and you think it's going to be high and mighty, and it's going to sell for a bunch of commas, and it's just going to flop. It's not going to be what you thought it was going to be. So you kind of just have to take that with the bad. That's just part of business. And so this method right here is definitely not cheap, but it is definitely more profitable. And if you don't have a lot of time on your hands, but you have the commas to spend, and you're like, what should I do with my commas? Should I buy gear? Should I make gear? This is definitely a great method for you to make some commas. Now, the first method that we're going to talk about is going to be leaning into your professions. Now, I'm only going to talk about 3 different professions because these are the ones that I'm familiar with. I'm a baker and a farmer myself, as well as a handyman. But I do have a lot of alchemist friends, so I'm not going to touch on every single profession. Whatever profession you are, just find whatever works for you, okay? So if you are an alchemist and a baker or a handyman, then great. The way that you're going to be able to make commas and lean into your profession is by making potions and crafting essences if you're an alchemist. If you're a baker, you're going to be making bread, making treats, and selling those on the market. And then if you're a handyman, you're going to be making keys and selling those keys on the market. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys a bit of an example in game and show you guys exactly how to do this, okay? All right, guys, and just to give you guys an example, one of my favorite spots, one of my favorite zaps to actually have saved and go to is the Scare Leaf Plane zap. So this one is going to be on -124. The reason I like this one so much is because it's only one cell up from the Baker's Workshop. It's probably the closest Baker's Workshop you're going to find relative to a zap. Now, if you're not sure what type of bread you want to bake that's going to be worth some money, go into the market and just go to Baker's and go to bread, and then it'll bring down that whole drop-down list of all the different breads that are available. Some of the more expensive ones that are actually worth crafting because they're very, very valuable are going to be like the Golden Bearing rolled oat bread or the resistant rye bread that's going to give you +1 vitality and 500 HP. So in the early game, you can get by with crafting some city bread. City bread is really, really nice. You can hand it out to your friends. You can craft it relatively inexpensive, and you can get a bunch of it. And 50 HP is really nice to have, especially in the early game. Once you start getting into like the higher health pools, like into the thousands, then having things like the gold bearing rolled oat and the resistant rye bread are going to be very valuable. As you can see, this one goes for about 47,000, and it's actually underpriced a little bit. So the gold bearing is selling for about 175,000 right now. There's only one of them on the market, and it's priced at over 78% market value. So if you click and hold on the actual number itself, it'll actually tell you what the average price is, and whether it's positive or negative. If it's positive, that means it's overpriced. If it's negative, it's going to be green like this, and that means that it's underpriced. So this is half off basically because it's minus 50%. So this typically sells for about, if it's 3,000, it typically sells for about 6,000 KAMAS. And you can kind of check by just clicking and holding on the actual item itself, and it'll tell you the average price, 6,000 KAMAS. As you guys can see, this is half off. So we're gonna focus on this gold bearing rolled oat bread because it's gonna give us 700 HP, 1 vitality. It's a very good bread. Now I'm going to show you guys how to craft this piece of bread and actually make a profit here. So as you guys can see up here, it's going to say level 10. So we're going to click on the actual item itself and go to associated recipes. Now this basically tells me, this level 10 up here tells me that I have to be a level 10 baker, or I have to find a level 10 baker in order for me to do this. Okay. But let's go down here. This is the important part right here, is this associated recipes. So it only requires 3 things. It requires 1 bucket of water, it requires 1 gold bearing oat flour, and then it requires 1 baker's yeast. So it only requires 1 of them to make one of these breads that we can sell and flip for about 100,000 KAMAS, right? So if we're going to click on this yeast. If you don't have the yeast, real simple, you can either make it yourself using the other recipes that are required for it, or you can just buy it out in the market outright. Now, this yeast is super inexpensive, so it's only 350 KAMAS. So we're going to buy 1 of those, and then we're going to buy 1 water. If you don't have any water, you can find it just about anywhere on the map. This is only 111 KAMAS. So we're at 350 plus 111 KAMAS. We're at 461 KAMAS so far. The most expensive thing is obviously going to be the gold bearing oat flour. This right here, sometimes you'll find it in the market, sometimes you won't. If you find it in the market, it's probably a good idea to buy it because these are quite scarce, and they're averaged at about 35,000. Okay. You could also make it yourself by having the cereal, but in order for you to get the cereal, you have to be a level 20 farmer just to be able to make the flour itself. So I would recommend you guys, if you guys are a baker and you guys want to make some KAMAS, just buy the gold bearing oat, right? It's only 35,000 KAMAS, so we're going to go ahead and buy it. So we're going to add that to our total. That brings our total up to 35,461 KAMAS. Now we have everything that we need to make this bread. All right, so now that we have all the ingredients we need, we're going to go over here, bake the bread. We're going to type in gold right here just to make it a little bit easier on ourselves. Oops, let's type in gold. Make it easier on ourselves, and it's going to have this little green sort of little marker right here. Just going to click on it. It looks like a little play button. It's going to pop up the recipe up here. There you go. You have all the ingredients to make a gold bearing rolled oat bread. We're going to combine. Now that right there, we just spent 35,000 KAMAS, right? We just spent 35,000 KAMAS to make that bread. Now we can put it on the market. It's going for about 175,000, but again, it was overpriced, right? We can probably sell this for 999,000 KAMAS. So that right there is a 3x profit. Well, give or take about a 3x profit. If we really wanted it to be a 3x profit, we would probably sell it for 3 times the amount, which would be a total of 106,000 KAMAS. So let's try to sell it for 107,000 KAMAS. Well, let's do 106,999 because that's kind of what we do out here, right? So 106,999, that'll be a 3x return on our money right there. So we're going to go and sell it. And that should be selling hopefully in the next hour or so. People are always going to be buying bread, especially some of this good bread right here. It's just incredibly valuable. So that's just one way to make a KAMAS, guys. Okay, the same thing that I just did will apply to every single profession. So if you're an alchemist, go to the alchemist section in the. So if you're an alchemist, go to the alchemist section in the store, go down to potion, look at some of the potions that are actually worth some KAMAS. You're going to look at the single, right? You're not going to look at the unit prices, the 100, the 10. You're looking at the single units that are worth some money, right? So this is only 18,000. This one's 49,000. That's not bad because it restores a ton of energy points. So you could do it for this. I'm not an alchemist, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys how inexpensive this is going to be, but all you got to do is click on the recipe and then check it out. So this is a average price 139K. That's very cheap. You need 10 of them. So that's about, let's see, 10, that's what, 2,000 KAMAS right there. So let's say 2, 4, 6, you know what I mean? Like all you got to do is just find the recipes for those items that are worth something in the actual market and go ahead and craft those. Now, there's going to be 2 ways to do it, right? You can either go out and farm the resources yourself, right? Because a lot of this stuff you can actually drop because it'll have a bestiary. If you go ahead and click on the item itself, like let's say you don't have any carrots, or let's say you don't have any cherries, you can click on the cherries. If there's no way to create the item, click on the item again itself. It'll say bestiary or marketplace. Bestiary just means it's going to show you where you can find it on the map, what enemies you can kill in order for you to farm said resource, and it'll actually tell you exactly where you can find it if you click on that little map icon right there. If you go down, it'll tell you some of the other stuff. It'll tell you the resistance. It basically tells you everything that you need to know as far as how to acquire that resource. Not everything can be purchasable in the store, in the market, but this is a great handy tool to use. Click on it, click either Citron Marketplace if it's cheap and you have the KAMAS to spend so that you could buy the resources and save yourself some time, or click on Bestiary if you'd rather just go out and do the manual, the hard work, the labor itself, you know, to go out and find the resources by killing mobs, right? So those are the two options that you guys have. All right, guys, and let's talk about method number 2. So method number 2 is going to be buying and flipping. So for this one, we're going to be focusing on a couple things, okay? So we're going to be focusing on buying the high quantity, low cost resources, okay? This is an emphasis on the low cost resources. And I'll kind of go into it a little bit more in detail here in a second. Number 2, we want to farm the expensive materials. And number 3, we want to try to aim for a 2x to 3x return on our money, okay? So let's go in game. Let me show you guys kind of what I'm talking about here. All right, so 2 workshops that are going to be your best friends if you're going to be going this method. The first one is going to be the equipment workshop, and the second is going to be the alchemist workshop. So you can craft all of your essences and stuff that you need for some of these sets. This equipment one is going to be actually crafting the gear itself. So you're going to be able to make boots, belts, cloaks, whatever it is that you need. Maybe not you yourself, but you're going to be able to find the people that can make these types of things, the tailors, the shoemakers, all that stuff, at these workshops. These 2 workshops that are right next to each other, best place to find them is going to be at the Astrop Zap. So it's just going to be a couple cells to the right and then one down. They're going to be right next to each other. So these are going to be your best friends, okay? The one piece of equipment that we're going to focus on today, and again, this could be applied to every piece of equipment that you can equip onto your character in the game, even trophies as well. Some of these trophies you can actually make yourself. The Dofuses, not so much. You got to earn those in quests and things like that. But for example, like this trophy, this one has an associated recipe, so we can actually find out, find out what is required to be able to make that particular piece. But the one we're going to focus on today is the coveted Gelano. Now, the Gelano ring is one of the best rings that you're going to be able to find early game that's going to serve you as well as the mid game. Once you get into the end game, you're going to find some Gelanos that have, like, let's see, if we go to the workshop here, we're going to just type in Gelano, not the workshop, sorry, the store. We're going to find Gelanos up here. In the late game, they're going to have 1 AP, 1 MP. These are going to be the high end. Basically, the late game Gelanos are going to have this stuff. These are all going to be very expensive. As you guys can see, these are just way ridiculous prices, and it's just absolutely insane. So some of them are going to have range, some of them are going to have vitality. The ones down here, you can see that they're on sale. If you actually click on them, make sure that you're not getting a Gelano that doesn't have anything. So this Gelano, it literally doesn't have any piece of stats. Why somebody would pay $290,000 for this, I don't know. Maybe somebody would just, auto click on this and see that, it's on sale and not even realize it and buy it on accident. But make sure that you guys are clicking on the actual pieces of gear that are in the market to see exactly what stats are on it. So for this example, this Gelano right here, the regular Gelanos that have the 1 AP are going to be going for about 600,000 KAMAS, and then that's when they start ramping up. They start going up to the 2 million because they're going to add, they're adding a bunch of extra stats on top of these Gelanos. So for this 6, we're just going to be focusing on this one here, which is going to be the regular Gelano with 1 AP. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the actual item itself. We're going to go to associated recipes, and the same exact method that we used to craft all that bread and that I showed you guys earlier is going to be the same exact thing that you're going to apply to making gear. Whether you want to craft the gear to wear it yourself for your character, or you want to craft the gear to flip it on the market and make a profit, crafting the actual equipment itself or the piece of gear itself is going to be much more inexpensive. It's going to be much cheaper than actually buying the item outright out of the market. Okay, so let's take a look at what the actual recipe for this item is, right? So it's going to require 20 of these bluish jellies, 1 royal jelly essence, 2 lemon jellies, royal lemon jellies, 2 royal strawberry jellies, and then 6 raw mother of pearls, which is a stone. Okay, so we're going to click on this. If we get, like I said, if you just click and hold, it's going to actually highlight it, and it's going to tell you exactly what the more expensive pieces are. So for example, this bluish jelly, we need 20 of these bluish jellies. If we go to the store, go to the market, they're going for about 70,000 a piece. Now, these are actually not very, very difficult to find. If you actually click on the jelly itself, go to the bestiary, these are going to be pretty easy to find if you just go to the Jelly Peninsula down here. If you guys haven't been to the Jelly Peninsula, this is exactly where it is. The game is great because it actually highlights it in blue. It'll tell you exactly where you need to go to find this particular drop. So you just got to kill some bluish jellies. You can either do the dungeon, or you could just go in here and farm some mobs. Going back to our graphic, we want to focus on buying the high quantity, low cost resources, okay? So using that practice there, that means that all the ones that are more expensive, we're going to skip out on buying. So for example, like this one here, the Mother of Pearl, we only need 6 of these. So let's go to the market and see what it costs. Right now, I only have, I have 4 of them, but for the sake of this video, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it would cost to actually craft a gelato from scratch. For 10 pieces, it's 16,000. We don't need 10, we only need 6. So they're going for about 1,000. So let's say that's 6,000 kamas right there just for this piece alone, right? The royal strawberry jelly and the royal lemon jelly. Now, these are 2 drops that these are 2 materials that you cannot actually create. So these actually have to be earned in game. So only place to earn them is going to be fighting the royal strawberry jelly and fighting the royal lemon jelly. Now, the only place to really get them is either going to be in the marketplace or actually fighting the mobs themselves. And the best place to find them is going to be in the jelly dungeon. Okay, so if we go to the marketplace, the cost of it is about 90,000, and it's actually underpriced right now. So it usually goes for a little bit more. So let's say we purchase 2 of these. We're not going to do it, but let's say we purchase 2 of them. That's 180,000 kamas right there. It's 180,000 kamas right there. Then let's say we purchase the royal strawberry jelly. That's another 70,000 kamas right there. So 70 times 2, that's 140,000. So that's bringing our total up to 326,000 so far. That's for these 3 pieces. The bluish jelly, this is going to be the one that we're going to go back and farm. So if we go back here, now last 2 items that we have left to farm are going to be the royal jelly essence and the bluish jelly. Okay, so going over the bluish jelly, if the bluish jelly was a little bit cheaper, I'd probably just buy these outright and save myself the time. But because they're going for about 70,000, which is the average price, more than likely, I'm probably just going to go out and farm these and try to get the drops for it, because it's really not that hard, right? Especially at my level, it's really not hard to go out and get these bluish jellies. So we need 20 of them. We're going to save ourselves about 140,000 kamas. But let's say for the sake of the video, we wanted to just outright buy them. That's 140,000 that we're adding to the total. And then the royal jelly essence. Now, we're not going to go ahead and buy the royal jelly essence because the royal jelly essence is going for about 82,000 kamas, right? Now, you might think this is a good deal because it's 50% off, right? It's because it typically sells for about 160,000 kamas. It's half off, so you might think, oh man, I got a good deal. I'm going to swipe this up from the store, save myself some time. But if you really want to be efficient, you want to save yourself the kamas. And the way you do that is by creating the royal jelly essence. Now, you can't do that yourself unless you're an alchemist. So that's why I was saying that these 2 workshops here are going to be your best friend, because you want to use other people's professions and leverage other people's professions to help you out, because not only is it going to help you save some kamas, it's also going to help increase their experience. So it's a win-win for both parties, okay? So in order to craft this royal jelly essence and save ourselves from having to pay 160,000 or even 80,000 kamas, we're going to just take a look at the recipe for the jelly essence. So we need 10 of these hop flowers. We have 10 of them now, but if we want to go ahead and buy them, 10 of them only cost about 1,400. Okay, we're going to do a separate little bit of math here. So then we got 1,500 for that. So 1,500 for the hop flowers. This royal bluish jelly, let's go see how much this costs. Royal bluish jelly is going for about 6,000. Okay, and then we got these gobby legs. Now the gobby legs, super easy to find. You just go hit the bestiary. You just go and kill yourself 10 gobbles if you don't want to spend the extra kamas for this. But let's say for the sake of just time, right? If you're just on a time crunch and you have the extra kamas to spend, you can go into the store, go into the market and find these for about 28,500. So that's 10 of them that you need. So 28,005 is what we're adding to that list. And then with the last one was we have the royal mint jelly. Royal mint jelly is going for about 4K. So let's do the math. All right, so if we add all of this up, that brings our total up to 40,000 KAMAS, right? Now we can save ourselves 28,000 KAMAS if we just go and kill some gobbles. If you want to just go and kill the gobbles, you're going to lower the cost of this jelly essence craft to just 12,000 KAMAS. So instead of spending 160,000 KAMAS for this jelly, the royal jelly essence, instead of spending 160,000 KAMAS or even 80,000 KAMAS, you can craft this jelly essence for about 12,000 KAMAS. Could actually be less if you just wanted to go out and farm the royal and mint jellies. Okay, so but if you wanted to just save yourself some time from having to kill these gobbies and you wanted to just buy it outright, even doing it that way, you're still saving about 40,000 KAMAS because this is on sale. But if it's not on sale, it's selling for about 160,000 KAMAS. So you're really saving yourself about 120 to 150,000 KAMAS total. Okay, so now that we have a royal jelly essence that we crafted for about 40,000, possibly 12,000 if we wanted to go out and farm the gobble essence, that's going to bring our actual total to 400. Let's see, 466,000 is what we had, plus let's say 40,000 KAMAS. That's 506,000 KAMAS. And that's just us literally buying everything outright. So a lot of this stuff, you can save yourself some KAMAS by putting the time to gather the resources to actually craft the item. So even though it's costing us about 500,000 to gather all the materials just from purchasing them through the marketplace to craft this gelato, we can lower that cost down to much less. So we can actually make a much bigger profit margin when we're actually crafting some of this gear. So gelatos they used to be selling for about $1 million. So being able to craft it for 500,000 and selling it for $1 million, you're doubling your money there. But now they're a little bit cheaper. So my suggestion for you guys is to take some time, go through the marketplace, find some items that are worth some actual KAMAS, that are worth some money. Go and see what the recipes look like, and if it doesn't cost a lot of KAMAS to actually craft this thing, again, you never want to be buying these essences. You always want to try and craft these essences when possible. If time permits, and if you have the time and the KAMAS to do it, I highly suggest you guys to make sure you guys are crafting all of the essences for these gears to be able to make them. And then the rest of the stuff, you can either farm it or you could just buy it outright. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Go back and watch this video to kind of see what that method looks like. It's very simple once you do it a couple of times, and I really hope that helps. All right, so just to kind of recap method number 2, we're going to focus on buying the high quantity, low cost resources. We're going to farm the more expensive materials, and then we're going to try to aim for a 2 to 3x return on our money. Now, I know gelatos, probably not the greatest example because the price of gelatos in the market are a little bit low right now. They used to be selling for about $1 million, but more and more people are playing the game, and it just obviously it affects the economy. This whole game is a player-driven economy, so. But we still only spent about 500,000 to make a gelato. We're going to sell it for about 600,000, so we're going to profit 100,000 there. But there's so many different pieces of gear in the market. You just kind of have to explore on your own and see what's really going to be worth it for you. All right, guys, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys really did enjoy this video and you guys took something from it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you guys like the video as well to help with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers for the channel, and I'm going to try and put out some more Dofus Touch content if you guys, show this video some support, man. These videos take a long time to make. The editing, is tedious, but, something that I enjoy to do. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy it, and I really hope you guys did like the video, because for every person that liked this video, you're going to be getting in your account for free a gelato with 1 AP, 1 AP, 1 range, and 1,000 vitality. This is not a scam. All right, guys, have a good one. Peace.